Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it.
The JAMODI podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products.
Individual skill development, how does that work into daily practice and maybe even more in season? Because I feel like out of season, majority of coaches would say that they believe in skill work. Sometimes in season, it becomes hard to fit it in with team practice. So how does that work into daily practice for you?
I'll tell you what, man. I'm a big skill development guy. So for me, you need players that are skilled to win you games. There's no such thing in my book as a perfect play or a perfect offensive structure that's just always going to give you, something beneficial. And I'm more just talking about in half court sets, because I think if you're a good offensive transition team, then yeah, you could get a lot of buckets that way. But when it comes to skill development, I want players who can, once they get the space, they can make the shot, or they can create spots. They can create shots for themselves. So for me, I'd say even during the season, we're going to dedicate at least 40 minutes a day to skill development. Now, within that 40 minutes, I'm not going to try to do everything. So that 40 minutes, we'll concentrate it basically on maybe 3 skills. So we might do 20 minutes of contested shooting, where we might have that 21 drill I just showed you, and we got another one, 34, which is basically kind of a similar type of drill where it's scrambling around, it's contested shooting, it's competitive, the losers have to run. So we might do that for 20 minutes as just really shooting game shots at a good pace. And then the other 10 might be ball handling that we're doing, whether it's ball handling one-on-one, making decisions out of traps, just different things that are based on getting better. Even 1-on-0. I like to do ball handling with dummy men, the dummy men that stand up.
Yeah.
Because I think cones, when you got those kids looking down at cones, that hurts their development. So we'll do some ball handling drills with dummy men, and then I'm big on finishing as well. So we might do another 10 minutes in skill development where we do our Arizona finishing drill and just some different things to have them working on really finishing against an opponent, finishing just, 1-on-0, Euros, pro hops. Because for me, I want a player that can get me buckets or get the team buckets. It's probably a better way to say that, and we got to train these kids to do that thing year round, man. I think a lot of times the coaches, we want to blame kids when they're not making shots or they're not doing what they need to do. But I feel like as a coach, we going to be what we emphasize, right?
Yeah.
So you put together an hour and a half practice plan and it doesn't have no skill development in it. They could be executing those plays really good, but shots just ain't going.
Man, I think
shots to go.
Yeah, I think the way that you view individual skill development and how much time you give out of your practice plan, I think it says a lot about the offensive culture that you have. Because you can have an offensive culture, defensive culture that is different. And what I mean by that is like it's possible offensively to run only set plays for one person, where the truth is 5 or 6 of those other dudes that are on the team, like that play, don't really need to shoot much. That's a style. That's a culture. And if that's the case, then man, like don't spend a lot of time on individual skill development. If you want to open things up, play with pace and in some space. Chris Oliver talked about with basketball immersion, he talked about you have musts or possibilities. When you're running plays, it's almost all musts. You must catch and must do this. You must reverse it, then you must pin down. And then you must, or you could play in a world of possibilities where when you have the ball in your hands, you have that 0.5 second to, can I shoot it? Do I need to move it? If not, I'm going to drive it. Coach, when you're playing like that, they got to have skill. Like you gotta be careful how many guys are on the floor that can't do those things, or else those good defensive coaches will sniff that out, not guard them, and all of a sudden it's 5-on-3. So I think the way that you play really dictates how much skill development and how much emphasis you put on that.
Absolutely. And I'll say like within the main, let's just say the base offense we have for our program, we talk about freshmen all the way up to varsity, basically a pistol action, zoom action type of offense to where they're going to run a handoff into a ball screen 9 times out of 10 most of the time, unless we're running different sets. But the thing is, what if you come off that ball screen and you don't have space? At that point, yeah, it's a if then type of situation where, okay, yeah, if we're running such and such play, I could pass it here and then screen away. But for me, I want to catch that defense off guard. And let's say the five actually switched that ball screen. We were talking about a pistol.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want my guy to be able to make a move and beat him. And so that's why we emphasize even, and we're pretty structured. Like we're going to run plays when we don't have anything offensive transition. But yet in those different scenarios, I want my players to read and react situations and be able to create,
Yeah. And it's not that, okay, when you say, like when I say running plays limits some players, well, not if your plays are creating double gaps in space, not if your
Yeah.
plays are creating advantages, right? Like
Mhm.
that's what you want. When that guy does get in that place where he receives the ball with an advantage, can he take it? And can he make the right read off of it? Because if again, most plays out there are multiple options that you can take from it, but do the guys that are in those positions have the skills and the awareness to make the right read to either cash in or move it? Yeah,
And
yeah,
closeouts too. Reading closeouts is
yeah.
big for me offense. There's a lot of times when you go back and watch it on film, you'll be like, man, why did he just rip and drive that guy? Why did he shoot that? Why did he do this? And so for me, like I said, being solution oriented, you got to teach guys how to read closeouts.
Yeah.
And what does closeout look like for me to shoot it? What does it look like for me to rip and drive? Like it really, and so when I say skill development for us, it's not a whole lot of just kind of like two ball dribbling and stationary. And
Yeah.
ain't nothing wrong with two ball dribbling, but I'm
Yeah.
saying a lot of our stuff is scenario based, with
And
the
I,
with the
I
skill.
was going to comment on that because I think you're right on the money. So many times we talk about skill development, coaches will almost roll their eyes thinking of like, med balls and cones and foam rollers and 18 different crosses. But I think obviously there is that side to it that's out there. I do like to dabble in the cones and med balls, and I call them accountability tools. Just a way
Mm-hmm.
for me to ensure that all of them are getting to a certain level of low. But going back to, I think what you do is what coaches really can look into is take the style of play that you have, the actions that your players are going to run, and make that into skill development. Put those guys in those situations where they can rep those things out instead of, I think what happens, and I'm guilty of it, is we're going to run this action. We're going to call it 5. All right, go 5, 5-on-0. All right, we ran 5. All right, let's play. Well, really, that guy only did it one time and against no defense, but we want them to be great at that action against 5-on-5 situation. Man, break down what you do into small sided games, into small areas, small parts, and rep it that way. That's skill development for sure.
Yeah, because that's the thing. When we have our pistol, basically DHO drills, well, they'll understand. And when they're dribbling into the handoff, they can Uno it, which I don't want to give too much of my stuff away, because my district opponents are listening. But if they Uno it, that means you fake the handoff and keep it. And
Yeah.
so we have drills where they fake the handoff and keep it and then Euro into a layup. Or they receive the handoff, they come off that ball screen and shoot a mid range. Or we
Yep.
hit the roll, the roll man gets it, he does this. And so yeah, it's like it's a progression of the play, and they'll be just doing maybe 3-on-3. And
Yeah,
then
but
they'll
it's
have
good skill work.
pistol,
Yeah.
and It's basically offensive breakdown stuff
Yeah.
with the skill development. Yeah.
But and you can also you can put more balls on the baseline, and you can get all three of those guys shots every possession. Where after the
Yep.
handoff action, the guy that doesn't receive it, let's say he does uno, he keeps it and he goes. That guy that was going to receive the handoff can turn and just open up for another shot. That's what I'm saying. Like skill
Yeah.
development to me can be really fun. Where almost tricking them into they're getting better at the things that I want them to do, but we're still getting a ton of shots up. They're handling it with either hand. But I am going to go back to my Pistol Pete roots quite a bit, and I'm going to get some wraps, some two ball, and do a lot of fun stuff like that as well.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.